I'm constantly being met. Not just myself, I see it online. Whenever I see a victim or a survivor speaking out on rape or sexual assault, sexual abuse, well, let's just encompass it as sexual violence. Whenever I see somebody talking out on sexual violence, I see the conversation dominated and deflected to become centered around false rape accusations. So this is something I really wanted to explore because there's so much weight held in this. There's so much weight held in this narrative, and I feel like it is rising and conquering above the actual conversation of victims or survivors, however you refer to yourself as. So I wanted to have a look into this and just see why does this hold so much weight? Why is every single person that I know being shut down with false rape accusations when they're talking about their real sexual violence stories? So I thought, okay, so is this a problem? So I went away and I did a little bit of research, and I felt like it's really important to debunk the myth of false rape accusations being the norm. So, Home Office reports stated that in the UK, 4% of rape and sexual assault cases reported to the police, so 4% out of every single report that was made to the police, bearing in mind only 35% of victims actually make that report. 4% of rape and sexual assault cases reported to the police were found to be false or suspected to be false allegations of rape. Now, out of the 4% of false rape accusations, 0.62% of these are prosecuted. So when we look at that data, when we look at those figures that we've got there, what we're actually seeing is that based on the amount of men that live in England and based on the amount of men that are prosecuted for false rape accusations, the average man stands a chance, this is the percentage of the chance that he stands of being falsely prosecuted of rape. It's 0.0002% that you stand of being falsely accused of rape. By this measure, men are 230 times more likely to be raped or to be assaulted than they are of being falsely or wrongly accused of assaulting somebody. 0.0002%. It's not even close to 1%. The amount of men who are prosecuted for false rape accusations, it's not even close to 1%. So my problem in trying to understand was how have we weighted so much importance on 1% and let it dominate, silence the 99%? How has 1% silenced the 99%? This is being used as the norm. It's horrific and it's abhorrent when this happens to somebody. It's inexcusable. But this is the norm. And this cannot be used as a defence anymore to silence the norm. And this is not a war, this is not waging a war on men. This 99% includes men. Men are abused too. Men are at risk of rape, they're at risk of sexual violence too. Not on the same scale that women are and children are, but we know they are. So this 1% is silencing a whole bunch of people right now. I feel like the reason for that is because we're looking at this as a war on men. This is a war on abusers. This is humans against abusers. And when we hold so much weight in this section here as a defence, I was recently, having a conversation with somebody online. Well, I'd like to say a conversation, but it really wasn't. It was somebody dictating false freaking facts to me. And he said to me, well, if women stopped crying false rape, maybe women would be believed. If women stopped crying false rape, more women would be believed. That's what he said. So he's blaming women for women's unsuccessful rape cases rather than blaming the people who are accountable, which is the shitty court systems and actual rapists and abusers. It baffles me because, like I said, you know, the dominance of that narrative, it's harmful when you look at the statistics and you see how prevalent sexual violence is for everybody. For everybody, for the whole of society. And when we look at other crimes that happen, other crimes that occur, for example, if I owned a shop and I said, okay, someone came into my shop and they stole items from me, am I going to go to court? And are they going to say to me, well, Olivia, you know, you made the shop look inviting. You had the items on the shelf free for the taking. They was inviting. Is it any wonder people wanted just to take it? We don't question other crimes in the same manner that we question rape and sexual assault. We are humiliating victims. We are ridiculing victims. That's even if they make it through the court door. It's for me, the whole situation, the whole conversation on the false rape accusation, when being used to shut down survivors coming forward, for me, that's a problem. It's deflective. It creates a language that covers up a bigger problem. It's like putting a cover on it. It's like we're putting a lid on it, and everybody underneath there is bubbling and raging, and we're not getting justice, and we're not seeking anything, and we're getting rightly angry because this cover is being put on us. It doesn't create progressive change. It doesn't allow for progressive conversations to be had. It doesn't allow for solutions to be put in place. It's a block and it's a barrier. And I'm talking about this when it's used to silence victims and survivors who are speaking out against sexual assault. For those who are campaigning, those who have experienced false rape accusations, those who have had their lives affected by that, I believe it's a very important cause. It's a very important campaign, but it shouldn't be used in the same tone to silence victims. And that's the issue that's being had. And I just wanted to highlight some real statistics so people can see how common real rape and sexual assault happens in comparison to how false rape happens. I feel like the only time we're allowed to talk about rape or sexual assault is when we're talking about men being falsely accused of it. We're not allowed to talk about our own experiences of sexual violence without being told we lie. We make this up. We ruin men's lives. Women sit there and they conspire and they think of ways to ruin men's lives. When 1 in 5 of us is being subject to sexual violence every day. I want to look forward to expanding this dialogue and thinking of real ways, tangible ways, where we can have conversations that allow victims and survivors to openly talk about their experiences and review as how we as a society accept there's a problem, first of all, and how we work towards creating solutions and safer spaces and a broader mindset into these situations. Okay, so yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to engage in more conversation. I hope you enjoyed.